What's up, folks? Tim Anderson here, aka Renfail. Welcome back to another Inkarnate tutorial video. For those of you who are new, I work on tabletop games. We have our own tabletop world, sourcebook, modules, all sorts of stuff with our Patreon page. We do adventure packs. We have a point and click adventure game. There's a book series, all sorts of fun stuff happening. And one of the things I do here on my channel personally is I do incarnate maps. And in 2023, I decided I was going to start doing a series of tutorial videos to show you all how I use this map making tool for all of my virtual tabletop needs. Now, this is the latest episode in the series, so if you want to watch the rest of them, don't forget to check out the playlist, like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Now, for those of you out there who have more years into Incarnate than I do, you might have a few tips and tricks to share with people that are things that are done in a different way than how I do them. Please feel free to drop those down below in the comments section because we can all stand to learn. I've been doing this for a couple of years now. I'm fairly proficient with the program, but I don't know everything. I'm always happy to hear from other people, so feel free to comment as you can. And if you want more like this and you want to support the channel, we'll talk more about the end beyond the Patreon page because there's lots of other cool ways you can get involved. So without further ado, let's take a look at one of the most recent maps that I put together, which is for the Forkland Caverns. Get a very brief look down here at the map. We're not going to scroll in and look at anything quite yet. I just want to show you guys what this map looks like. We have some rock texture paint, and then we have a couple of areas, and then it's leading off screen, and then we have a watery area up in the top. Now, this is one style that you can choose. You can also choose to do something like this, which is one of the sewer maps that we made for the previous campaign in our world setting of the Weave in the Void. This is one of the maps that's being worked on for the current campaign that we're getting ready to publish later this year. And then the previous campaign had a bunch of maps. This is one of those. So this is the sewers that we did. And then coming over here, we have another style, which is another underground cavern area that leads to a dock. So you'll notice that the walls and things look slightly different depending on what map we're looking at, and that's because we're doing things in a variety of different ways. Because you can come in here and customize things and build things the way you want using the tools that are available. Now, obviously, everything you're doing here is mostly going to be working with stamps and um, using those stamps in a variety of creative ways to achieve the outlooks that you want, the outcomes that you want, along with texture painting and some other stuff. So let me turn off the camera here because I want to be able to show you guys all of the tools, and you're going to be able to want to look at where I'm clicking with the mouse and everything else. So I'm going to turn this off, and we're going to get right into talking about how I made the looks that you're going to see here on screen, and how you can achieve the looks that you want using these same methods. So camera is now off. Let's go ahead and get in here. So in this case, if we scroll in here, and I've got this, I believe we're at the 8K resolution, or 4K, excuse me, we're working in 4K. If we go over here and select an element off of the right hand side, you're going to see something that's called Rocky Hills. So if we were to go to the actual stamp pack, we would be looking at the Rocky Hills um, stamp set. And there's a bunch of different stamps in this set. And as always, you can adjust the size on these like so. You can flip them around in all sorts of different directions, so on and so forth. Now, what we wanted to do is we wanted to use these to achieve a look of walls. So the easiest way to do that is we would just come in here and figure out the scale of what we're wanting to build. And in this case, I actually did what's called a cheese method, but it works incredibly well. You'll notice that the Badger basement has a similar shape to the storage and stairs up, and I can literally just copy and paste elements out if I want to keep that same structure to create similar map styles. And so we just flipped it around and placed it down here, and changed a few other elements within it, but it's mostly just working off of a template at this point because I built that template up out of lots of different pieces. And essentially, you're going to want to do the same thing when you build a map like this. So example, this central structure right here, which represents like a big stone pillar in the middle of the tunnel. I then just took that, made it into a section, and then shrunk it down to put it here, shrunk it down again, 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 and just pivoted it in different directions to give me the illusion of, pillars going up in the tunnel. You can obviously change this as you want, but um, the hardest part about making a map like this is when you start off, you're going to need to build um, some actual walkways so that you don't want to be in here individually placing things with stamps, forever and ever and ever. So here's an example of what I mean. You take this out, paste it up here, right? So that's one element, right? Now we've got lots of different stamps in here. So let's say that we want to create something that's fairly linear in structure. Um, Something that's, for example, going to be a wall, um, and we want it to look somewhat, a certain way, like a long structure. You might take some time and you might put together something like this, um, as an example. And once you've got six, five, six different pieces put together in a way that you like, you can literally just take this, select all of those, copy that, paste it, flip it around, and somewhere, drop it on here somewhere, and boom, you've got a hallway. Now you can play around with this however you want and extend it down so you get the structure that you want. But now you've essentially got a hallway and you didn't have to build out another five pieces in a row. That's a tip that I would use to create a map like this. Now, obviously, these are just the walls, and you're going to come in here and you're going to do this essentially everywhere where you want to make curves and everything else. But you also are dealing with having there be different textures, and you need to be able to see these a little bit better. So one of the things you would want to do is come in here and painting the foreground versus the background so that you can get a little bit of um, structure to your floors and stuff so that you can actually see your walls defined a little bit better. So you would come in here and then I always paint after the fact. So I would wait until I've lined everything else, and then you come in and paint. But other people, if you have problems with contrast, you might want to paint the whole map that light color and then come in and do the walls, and then paint your foreground and background after the fact. But that's one of the ways that you can quickly and easily get a map like this up and going. This map in particular took me about 3 hours, I think, to get ready. From start to finish, it was about 3 hours. And that was, mostly just building out structures of tunnels and stuff. But that's a 3 hour map right there. This one took considerably longer, and that's because this map is made of different elements, and we can scroll way down in on this map because I was building this to be a pretty big map for one of our campaigns. This one you can scroll way down into, by the way. We can go down in here and go all the way down. We've got this set up to be a 4K map, which you can export as at an 8K resolution. All of the subscribers on our Patreon page get these maps as part of their subscription at the Game Master tier, so you get these at the 8K resolution. You get them in two different formats. One format is without the POIs, which we can take a look at that in a minute. Actually, let's just go back and look at that real quick, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So notice how there's two maps here. One says Underground Railroad, and the other one says Agnostic City Caverns. These two come together as part of a map pack over on our Patreon page. So this is an update. Then we did the Lord Oberon's Manor and the Agnostic Estate map. Those come together. The Agnostic Tavern exterior goes together with the Laughing Badger exterior. Then we have the city map with Forkland. Then we have the Forkland Docks and the Forkland Docks Agnostic. What we've done is every time we come out with a map pack for our subscribers that are part of our official campaign, they come out with POIs attached, but then they also come with a POI list version so that you can take those and use those however you see fit in whatever setting you want, whatever virtual tabletop program you're using in 8K resolution, which is just breathtakingly beautiful. And then you can come in here and you can put your own grid stuff up. I don't use the grids in um, Fantasy Grounds because why? You can, or not Fantasy Grounds, sorry. I don't use the grids in Inkarnate because people can go into their chosen VTT program like Fantasy Grounds or Foundry VTT, and you can make your grids set up better that way so that you can get them set to the tokens and everything else that you're going to be using in your platform. Anyway, this one utilizes a lot of different tools, and this one had a ton of manual placement because of all the way the curvature works and everything else. But we also worked with a different type of structure here. So rather than the cliffs that we were working with or the hills that we were working with the other one, we're actually working with the sewer tunnel walls with these sewer tunnels packs. And this sewer tunnel pack has like a ton of things, including these like big circle structures, and everything. So you kind of have to work within the limitations of what you have available, but it's the same setup as the other map where I will come in here and I will pick. If I'm wanting to make a straightaway, I might pick something like this. I got to decide which side I want in and which side I want out. In this case, I went with the creepy glowy rocks in, as you'll notice down below. But then what I did is I would go around and I would make these structures, these walls that you'll see down below. Maybe we'll put another one over here. And I would build out a side like so. And flip that around. So then I would have something like this, right? I would then come in here, take that, copy paste it. Oops. Flip it. Hang on, I gotta get it around where I can see it. And then it's not in a perfect scenario. It's not in a perfect location. And you just place it where you want, and then boom, you've got a section of hallway. Now, what I would do in between here is I then took these elements, which are these flagstone stamps, and I scaled them way down and had them look as actual. Hang on, I gotta actually get out of that. I then scaled those way down so that they matched the size of what I wanted to have for like walkways for the characters, and then I placed them down at a layer so that they were underneath. And the same thing happened here. I had to then take that, copy paste it, and I would flesh out, so many of these, but a lot of the flagstones I manually placed for the curvature of the wall. So this map took me more like about 20 hours to get this map done. But that's what I did there. And then the paint, I literally just came in and painted this nasty, scummy look here. And then I overlapped it with just different opacities. Which that's a very poor example because I didn't actually turn the opacity down. And then coming in here with like one of these and doing a pass and making it look a little browner. You see what I'm doing here? So that's essentially what I did here is I just painted the sewage. And you can see if you go down far enough, especially when you render it out in 8K, there's like little leaves and flotsam and jetsam and stuff. And then in between here, I've got broken bits of rubble where there's flagstones that have come out. I've got, these grates and stairs. And then coming over here, we've got these central pits, which are dirt. And then we've got roots and creepy, slimy stuff over here. And then I think one of these, where's it at? Yeah, this one has spider webs in it, so you could put like a spider encounter down in there. This one has corpses instead of spider webs, so that's meant to be a spider room. So this was another way to do um, tunnels and underground hallways and stuff. And then we get to over here, and this is the exact same setup, only instead of using the sewer walls, I used these cavern walls. Now, it's this exact same thing. The cavern wall is a stamp set that comes with all these different stamps, and you just have to come in here and build out, your structure however you want. Something like, this, and, do something like that, whatever. And then I would then take that, copy paste it, flip it, and now I've got a section of tunnel, maybe. And if I don't like it, I can always take an element off, like so. and just move that up like that. You see? And then we can quickly flip that around and have that be a narrow section of the tunnel. Boom. That's how I quickly and easily make um, my tunnels. It's not quickly and easily for every map. It's different for everyone. This was another about 15, 20 hours because I've got a lot of rock textures on here and crates and we had the boats and everything else. These needed to be more importantly, these needed to be to scale, whereas the Forkland map is meant to be it's a single cavern. There's not a lot of time going to be spent on this map based on the campaign setting. And we may end up adding more details to it as we get deeper into this map. But for the most part, this was a one and done. I'm in the middle of creating 30 new maps for the campaign. So what I usually do is I'll do a bulk run of all the maps, and then I'll come back and add any additional details to these as I see fit. So this one hasn't had a polish pass yet. So one of the things that you would do in a polish pass, you'll notice here, if I scroll down in here, we've got like these rocks that have been like painted on here and there. So that's a texture paint that you can do. So you would come in here and open up the catalog, and there's like these rocks right here, right? Now, normally, if we painted it, those are really big, right? And we don't know that we want them that big. We might want them that big, but we might not. So what I would do is I'd come in here and say, I want to bring that the size of the rocks down a little bit, something more like this, right? And then bring our paintbrush up, and then boom, we've added some rock texture through this hallway. All right, and then we can do it around in here. It's very subtle because of the colors that we've chosen, right? But that's essentially how you do that. Um, and you could just come in here and paint these. By the way, I was painting the background, you'd be painting the foreground. So that's how you guys can see what the rocks look like. And you can just come in here and paint at your leisure and add a little bit of detail. And we might even want to say that this entire shore has rocks. So we might come in here and say, what other rocks do we have? Those are all tiles. Water waves, I don't want. Stone walls, too much. Let's check out these rocks. Those are definitely too big. Those are more like flagstones. But we could paint this area like this, and then we could bring the opacity down to like 40 and continue to paint a few more in, but layer it up in here if you want. And we come back to this rock, and we'll come back to, and paint that all along the shore, maybe even down into the water like this. Right? Drop the opacity down to about half, and we'll keep painting back the shore. And that's just a nice little way to add a little more detail. And we're going to click save on that. And that's going to wrap up today's episode. So let me get my camera back on. There we go, while we're saving this. That's essentially sort of a quick and easy way on how to do underground caverns, tunnel walls, dungeons, things of that nature. There are lots of stamp packs. So the most important thing is don't be afraid to be creative. These are just 3 ways that I've done cavern walls for dungeons. There are many different types of um, assets available through the stamp packs. You could get creative depending on which packs you want to use. We can go in here and look even if they've got, like, where's it at here? I'm in the Fantasy Battle Maps one right now. Like, if you were to look at the sewers, they've got different types of rock walls. Remember the one I showed you, which had the green stuff on it? Well, there's also the canal edges that look like this. Those are the flagstones. But there's also these walls that have no gooey stuff on them. Oh, and there's other ones here, sandstone sewer rock walls. Boom, right there. And then we have, then we also have these other sandstone ones right here, right? And then we have, oh, I don't know, sewer wall mushrooms, which you could use creatively. There's lots of different tools, and that's just one type. We can go down through here and find like these different types of stones and waterfalls. Like this is the cave entrance, but you could also come in and use cliffs. I've seen people use cliffs to do the walls because they have, much like the hills, have a wave pattern to them that you can use. There's lots of different tools that you can use getting into the, you know, all of the different asset packs that they have, and it's just mostly based on you being creative with finding things that you think can fit the style of map that you want to make. These are my top 3. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can get more like this as I continue to do Inkarnate tutorial videos and more tabletop stuff here on my channel. Please support if you can. You can do memberships on the channel. There's 3 different tiers. Also memberships over at our Patreon page where you get our source book, our modules, our map packs, and everything else at the Game Master tier, but there are various tiers, so check them out. Book series, point and click adventure game, all that good stuff's over the Patreon page. But you can also support here directly on these videos with either super chats and stickers on live streams or premieres. There's 3 pre-programmed amounts down below that YouTube gives you, but you can program your own amounts and just plug something in, 50 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever you want to do, 5 bucks. Same thing with super chats, or super thanks, I should say. After the videos have been uploaded, they call them super thanks. Same thing on YouTube Shorts. You can do super thanks on Shorts and just pick a number, plug it in, whatever you can contribute. It's great. Keeps me doing this full time. Thanks, everybody. I got to get some more coffee and do some more maps for our own stuff. So until next time, stay safe, happy gaming, happy building, and incarnate.